How's it going, everybody? Nick Daniels here. Yet again, this is gonna be a vlog this time. Let me just do some reversing here. No big deal. Oh yeah. Yeah. Look at that. We're on the way to work as per usual, Saturday morning. Nobody's awake yet in the house. Can't blame anybody either. That's not my cup of tea. But anyway, we're going. That's gonna be exciting. So I want to talk about the A+ certification I'm gonna be taking. So basically, when you get an IT, okay, or I mean, I would assume any job actually for that matter, there's certifications you can get. So for example, there's like your WMS, your OH&S, there's like, you know, there's, I got like food safety handling, you know, from Sobeys. So, you know, there's a good little amount that you could put into a portfolio, and you know, the certificates do look good. Now, IT though, however, apparently they actually result in a slight pay increase on each one of them. Now, I don't know the percents, but like the textbooks are pretty cut and clear. They've got it apparently, you know, you will make 11% more. I mean, I don't know. But why I say this is because, like, for example, there's a Security Plus exam, so it's like you're basically, you know security regarding a computer, like the ins and outs kind of thing. And we get a textbook and a class on it. The textbook, apparently from top to bottom, is supposed to prepare you to pass that exam. And the textbook says that. It's like, yeah, people who get this certification are paid more than somebody who doesn't have it, right? They can do the same position, but somebody's going to get more money because, exactly, he's got the paperwork. So the A+ is like your general information, like you're kind of coming into IT, and you just kind of know all around general knowledge. So basically, I got a lot of studying to do. That's the first thing to say. But basically, I was doing a bunch of practice tests online, and I found that the questions were more, I wouldn't say intermediate, but like they were questions that I just didn't know the answers to. And the problem with that is because I was getting kind of nervous for this A+, right? I was like, okay, well, maybe I need to do a little more studying, because it was actually asking a lot about like system utilities, and it was just abbreviating everyone anyway, so I didn't know. Then I actually got the textbook. Again, I get the textbook, and it's like literally a guide to the A+ exam, right? Like right in the beginning. Like this is again the book you would read to pass your A+ exam, and everything that was on the table of contents that said what you're going to need to pass the exam, and they had all these headers, was everything that I found online as well. So those practice questions, I think, were just a bunch of bogus. They weren't necessarily around that. But I'll tell you exactly what it resolved around. So the kind of cool thing there is I know a little bit of like the Windows commands, and that is one of them. Windows commands were on there, and it said that there was a title called Other Technologies. So that very well may be like other technologies, other operating systems. So I don't know, for example, on other technologies, but I do know other operating systems. So I don't know if that would also include Mac, but it's going to have Linux on there. And there's this PDF I ended up basically a PDF I ended up downloading, and it had all the information on it, like, you know, again, for what you should study, yada yada, and it had some brief points on everything. And I'm telling you, I really took advantage of that, because it actually had like it would have like a term, say I didn't know the term, and then it would say, okay, here's a little description about this item. So for Linux, it actually listed all the commands that you'd probably want to know. And for Linux, I'm very familiar with those, because we took a whole class on Linux. And so, you know, you got like MD for move, you know, ls, list of directory, like just your basic commands that you're going to use, right? rm, remove a file, rmdir, which removes an empty directory. So it's interesting. It's interesting about that Linux was on there. I'm kind of impressed, because I feel a lot more comfortable with Linux, in the sense that I don't feel the questions will be as severe. Like, they're not going to be as serious with Linux, and they'll probably be less so. There'll be as many questions regarding Linux. Like I said, for the Windows ones, it was like one of the bigger ones was hardware. 33% of the exam is hardware. So it's understanding the different types of RAM, their speeds, how to identify them. So like, for example, you have like DDR 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Then you have SRAM, DRAM. Like, you need to know that, right? You need to know the differences of the RAMs. So that'll be a big one for me to study. Graphics cards. So the expansion slots, like anything that can go in there, their speeds, that kind of thing. All your ports. I'm a little more comfortable with the ports. I will be honest. I'm better. I'm a lot better with the ports than I was. So the ports is and it says right in the textbook. It's like this. Like there's a little block, and it's like this. Like right here. This textbook right here. I know you can see this. Right, so you get your A+ guide to technical support, CompTIA A+. That's the exam. So there's little points in the textbook that'll have like a little bubble around them, and it'll be like, this is going to be important on the exam. And that first page has that, because it's like you're required to know these ports. I'm like, oh god. Your plugins, like anything. So I'm reading that thing top to bottom because, like I said, I have a free voucher to do this, and I need to do this. So I've got about a little over a month to study. Considering I do work ridiculous amounts of hours, it's really hard to get the time in. And I also have a hard time reading textbooks and taking away a lot from it. So I've been doing a video course as well to try to practice. Again, like, you want to know monitors. Like I said, you want to know the ports that everything's plugging in. Like, you know, you have a keyboard that normally is USB, but there was also like the PS2 port. So you got to know that. You have to know like the printer port. You have to know the old USB, which is the serial port. You have to know that stuff. You have to know networking. I don't know to what degree, but you have to know networking, and you have to be able to troubleshoot mobile devices. The same idea, troubleshooting laptops, printers, troubleshooting. Like, troubleshooting and knowing the devices is hand in hand. You have to be able to know what to do. So that's one of the biggest things. And the video I was watching, it actually had a lot of troubleshooting steps on there for printers. So that'll be something I'm definitely going to want to watch into, because I'm not very knowledgeable in printers, unfortunately. So watching that video there, which is like 4 hours long, is definitely going to be a help. And I'm also reading, like I said, reading this textbook, and I'm going to be highlighting what I think I really need to come back to in review. That's the plan. And there's a lot to read there, so might as well get started. I got an hour on break here. Like, I use it wisely. Other than that, like I was saying, this exam's gonna be, I think, gonna be a good time. I feel like my neighbor and I are going up together, but he's gonna be writing the Security Plus, and I'm writing the A+ at hopefully the same place. So we'll save a little bit on gas. It's about an hour and a half for a drive, so that won't be so bad, actually. I'm kind of looking forward to that. But yeah, like, overall, I think it's going to be a good time, and like I said, I'm really looking forward to getting that certification in the binder, right? Like, I think that'll be nice, and that'll be a nice addition. And like I said, besides, it'll show my general knowledge, and I would like to be more comfortable with, again, the RAMs and whatever, and to know that stuff. I definitely feel like it's like the basics, but there's probably a lot of people in the industry who don't actually open up computer cases, like, you know, just don't bother. But to actually open it up and be able to just, like, point you out everything is kind of nice. I do know a decent amount, I will say. You know, like the difference of, like, dynamic RAM, for example, compared to, like, the other RAMs, where dynamic RAM has, like, capacitors, and it has to be constantly, like, refreshed, right, with, like, electricity to store any data on it. And as soon as you unplug the power, it's gone. But, and then of course you have, like, even something like as little as, like, the refresh rate, I wasn't really 100% about, but that's the rate at which the screen is constantly refreshing. So it's like rescanning the image like 60 times a second or something. So the lower the frame rate, the harder it'll be on your eyes, which is kind of neat. Like, I never really paid attention to that, which is kind of cool. DNS, I didn't know anything about, which is your domain name system. And that's, like, for example, like, if you type in google.com, you're not really going to Google, you're going to that IP address, and that IP address is made into binary. So, for example, you'd go google.com, which might turn out to be like 172.10.154.10, for example. That's the IP. that IP can then be broken down into binary, which is ones and zeros, is what the computer reads it as. So it'll be like 1000111100001, right? And that, whatever, that'll be it. And it's kind of cool, like when you start like breaking it down, right? And you start looking at it a little more seriously. It's kind of cool. I'm third yawn, man. Third yawn in this video. My buddy from class, Freeman of the Spam, he's always commented, and I like the way he looks at things, right? He always says, I like to understand how it's actually working. Knowing it's kind of cool, right? Like, whatever. But he's like, I actually want to, like, fundamentally get it. Like, I want to, like, look at that, and I want to fully grasp what's going on there. And that's really cool, because that's kind of how it should be. It's one thing just to kind of look at the surface and be like, all right, cool. But, like, how's it actually connecting? How are things actually working? How am I connecting to Google.com, right? And then once you realize, like, if your computer doesn't know Google.com, like if it isn't cached, that IP to that domain, it'll start looking all over the web for it, and it sends it off to multiple servers, like your ISP, the root server, the name server, right? And it's asking, it's like, what the hell? Like, what is Google.com, right? What is that IP? And somebody eventually is going to come back and be like, yo, that's what it is. Other than that, I think that's going to be about it. I do appreciate the comments on the videos, by the way. I've seen a few comments up lately. A couple people commenting there, mainly this Eric fella. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. I think that's pretty much all I've got. We're on 11 minutes. You know, it'd be funny if I actually got advertisements, because, you know, I could put multiple ads on this video. Oh, Billy's driving. That's odd. All right, well, we're going to cut her there, guys. Thanks for watching. Cheers.